Congratulations, guys. He didn't
Yay!
die. He came real close.
Let's thank Jet for that. Thank you, Jet.
Um,
Well, it's in my character's nature to do stupid things.
it's great. It's like, oh yeah, no, we found out that this guy was probably gonna use poison. Let me just throw myself on the poisoned knife.
Well,
Uh,
maybe Jet remembered that, but I didn't.
um, so yeah, no, you guys will get your what was it? How much money was it?
I think we upped it to 17K each
Sure.
total, but we had
100,000.
No. Yep. So you guys will get the 17, and let's do 15 karma for the first run. 'Cause
Whoa,
it-
whoa, whoa! Can we negotiate at least a little bit since we got the one of the assassins alive?
I tell you what, for now, write those rewards down on your sheet, and we'll see how
Mm-hmm.
things go next week. Like we'll still go into um, the closing out of this run, but I want to just kind of like let you guys get into the rebuild and to see where you want to spend some of these things. So I don't want to like, okay, well, no, you got to wait for next week to find out how much you get paid, because that's boring.
Okay, that's right.
Um, that
So
being said,
17,000 and 15 karma.
yes. And remember,
That's
it's
like
going to be higher than average than your original your ongoing payments for a while. Um,
Yep.
remember that you can up to 5 times change one karma for 2,000 nuyen or 2,000 nuyen for one karma. So
I might end up doing that.
you can kind of mix that around a little bit for yourselves. Um, and then this is the part where we get into communication. And is there anything at all that you guys want to know about the past 3 weeks?
So my question would be, um, do you? This was like obviously sort of like a milk run game. So at the
Yes.
beginning, you were helping us a lot. So how much less normally would you talk with us about that stuff? I understand that comments like, "Well, I'm not going to kill him today,"
Right.
would not happen. But
So I will probably not do another protection style run because when they are done over extended periods of time, they can take a lot of time. Like just in the amount that you guys spent setting things up and researching things, and then like imagine if we had played through the entirety of the VIP night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like we'd be at this for months. So
Mm-hmm.
like I don't really like doing these kind of runs without shortcutting them because it just takes too long and nothing happens and that kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, you guys, we're going through the motions because if you don't, and it happened to be the day that I decided I was going to try and kill him, then whoops, sorry. And that's kind of a dick and lame move. Mechanics, I will always obviously be available to help you guys figure out mechanics to do stuff. And for the most part, any of like when I asked you guys what kind of social skill you wanted to use, that stuff's going to be, consistent. That kind of options are there. It's hard to say like quantifiably how much more or less help I will be, but I try to make it so that you guys are doing the things that you want to do, and it's not like, oh, well, you said you wanted to do this, so that's what we did, and then because that's not good.
okay. So following the normal, I'm the GM, not your enemy.
Not
Route.
your enemy. Here to tell a story.
Lies. Those dice tell me otherwise.
I'm sorry, sir. Don't worry. We can get your dice pulls higher. We can make it better, faster, stronger. Um,
Another question would be: I don't think it's connected to the rebuilding or something,
mhm.
but since we're down one player, and you know, some of us were thinking about sort of reshaping our characters as different characters. Is that an option, or are we sticking with ours?
That is up to you guys on however you want to rebuild your characters now that you've gotten a chance to like kick the tires and see how things work.
Well, you sort of said that they cannot be totally reshaped.
I asked if they kind of stayed within concept. Like, that being said, that doesn't mean that they have to, like, you can still be Rot, who is looking for his friend and not able to find him. It doesn't mean you have to be a mage. You know,
Okay.
you could do it as a rigger, you could do it as a decker, you could do it as a street center. Like, the concept of who and why Rot runs the shadows is the same.
Sure. Okay.
Unless you didn't enjoy being Rot, in which case you rebuild it as somebody else. I don't care.
Um, did you was this the plan of how it was going to go down? The
Which,
uh
which part?
the the fight in the breezeways, or
It
was
was
this sort of
always going to be him coming out of the parking garage and attempting to get a little stab on.
okay? Cool.
Um, because like there's a lot of people that come in and out of breezeways. It's a parking garage. It's, you know, real easy for him to come out into a group of passerbys and give him a little poke as the two crowds mush past each other.
Mhm.
Um, and it was going to be Saturday or Sunday, whichever one you guys wanted to time skip to. Um, and it was going to be whatever like time of the day. Like you guys spotted the gnome like first thing in the morning. We kind of went with mostly because I didn't nail down a time when you guys were there. I was just like, oh yeah, no, you spotted her. Um, so it became lunch, like he was going to go back for lunch, and then you spooked them. So it's like, oh, hold on, we ain't going back for lunch. We going back to batten down the hatches and see what's up. So then you just expedited their leaving of the convention.
Okay.
If you guys didn't chase after Matilda, she would have been set up to provide sniper fire.
I told you. I knew it.
She was not going to be the main method because like we talked about with the glass on the breezeways and stuff, like it's bullet resistant. Um, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get the result you want, and especially not on the first shot. However, um, she was going to be there for backup. Like at worst, she could have broken the glass with some bullets, and he could have leapt out the glass to escape. Instead, since he knew that she was busted, um, he tried to leave the way he was going to come in, which failed. And we'll get into more details about how that failed next week.
Okay. So as far as the rebuilding goes, we will talk to you during the week.
Yeah. Did anybody have anything they wanted to talk about as far as rebuilding? Like, did anybody have mechanics they wanted to tweak, aspects of their character sheet they wanted to tweak, or roles or anything like that?
I like my character. I like what he's doing. I
Okay.
like his flavor. I'm probably just gonna switch around my priorities and what cyberware I have and a couple skill points, but he's generally gonna be the same. Um,
Yeah.
as long as Sue's gonna continue doing his thing, I'll probably rebalance a little bit more on the street Sam side, but it'll be very similar to what I have now.
I am going to pretty much. I'm in a similar situation as Dante. I'm just going to retool my character, give him some prior combat experience, and give him a slightly more tactical edge. Bent,
So
rather.
more of a personality and some minor mechanical boosts.
Yeah, but still adept, still maybe more secretly in love with martial arts
Fat
movies,
Andre.
but and Fat Andre. That's a bromance that won't die.
Right.
And yeah, maybe switch up some of my knowledge skills.
Sure.
I'm probably just gonna switch up knowledge skills.
Sure. If you want Hex, I'll be more than happy to sit down with you sometime before next week and work on tweaking out some higher dice pools for things.
Okay.
Because
Oh, that
Just like
the Matrix tends to be very very pass fail and very harsh on failing.
Because I figured 10 would be
That
decent, but I didn't figure it would be like that tough.
I mean, you're looking at rolling average with a rating 3 host.
Cut out.
Sorry,
So hard.
am I back?
Yes.
Okay. With 10 dice, you're looking at rolling on average with like a rating 3 host, which is fine if that's the kind of area that you guys are going to want to operate in. But I should not be drinking soda when I've got surgery in the morning. I should not be drinking anything. But I can help you squeeze some more efficiency juice out of that to
I've
make your
heard
life a
some
little easier.
sort of Reddit polls where they said threads where they said that like 15 on your main thing should be like, let's say, enough. So I don't know.
My suggestion is do 12 to 14, depending upon what it is. Magic and technomancy stuff is a lot harder to get above 12. Like you took a mentor spirit and you have a focus and that kind of stuff to get up there. Combat and murder dice is really easy to get up into the 18 to 20 range.
Uh-huh.
So it really depends upon what you're doing.
Yeah, for the most part, apart from specialties and stuff, I'm probably only going to get up to like 13 dice.
Probably. But at the same time, we can look at some of the. We can sit down and try and talk about some of the goofy things that you can do to make your life easier. Like, you have enough karma to pick up Skin Link now, which means when I touch a camera, I hack first the camera's rating, which is probably like 4 or 6 dice.
Which is like way better. Like
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that the skin link will make my life so much easier.
It will, so long as you can touch it. Like, for example, the cameras on the buildings outside the place, kind of difficult for you to touch because they're up in the air a lot. But you could
Unless
theoretically
Sue is
have.
here
Well, like,
Pick up some gecko tape gloves.
yeah,
Some
and
climbing
levitate.
equipment
See,
and
the
climbing
easiest
skills.
way for me to touch something would be to grab like a little Roomba and go cuddle with it in the corner.
but like you could have Rot could invisible you and levitate you and just fly you up next to the camera, and you could just go boop, and then you could hack it real easy. Like,
Okay, like talking about levitation and stuff. I don't have it. Sue has it. So I guess figuring out
you
what's up
have
with Sue.
you have some dollars, and you have some karma, and you can learn new spells.
That's right. I was about to ask about that because they say like it's a process of sort of talking to your spirit, buying like
You
spells and shit.
you spend some money, you buy a spell formula. As long as you have a lodge, you can learn it within a couple of days. And spend some karma.
Mhm.
It's
The main
not,
thing you're trying to do is figure out how to make it work for your tradition.
Yep.
So do I need to buy a lodge, or can I just set up a lodge with reagents so that I can temporarily learn a spell?
This is a buy a lodge situation because it is a over days thing for you to learn.
Oh, right.
So you want to like become a member of a local mana lodge? That would probably
You
help
don't
you
even
too.
you don't even need that. You can just set up a personal lodge.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I
but
guess
that has
good.
to be set somewhere.
Yeah, put it in your
And,
house.
I don't have a house.
You
You
just
have
got
$17,000.
yeah. You gotta
I'm
drive
not
by
gonna
the
waste
mine.
it on a house.
I mean, I could just mug you and take it away from you, so you don't have to worry about where you're spending it.
I can.
See, that's why you need to be the rat shaman and just bum reagent off of everyone, and then you can just turn an alley into a lodge.
So, as a GM in question, I remember seeing that you really like the rule of 12,
Yes.
which I saw using a lot here.
Yes.
But when you see a lot of your players rolling dice pools in the 8 to 10 range, do you ever consider dropping that rule until they get better, or is that really kind of where you sit?
It depends upon your opposition. As you notice, the two assassins that you had to deal with, they are obviously significantly better than your rank and file dudes, and your security squad buddies are better than rank and file dudes. That's why they were rolling like 12 and 14 dice for the things they're doing, because they are Almost Shadowrunners.
Or 24.
That was his soak. That is about body for about, let's say, 12 to 14 from a uh, wild hunt, or not wild hunt. There's like a big game hunter's like 14 soak. Armor
Mhm.
jackets are 12. Um, murder armor, not saying anything, is like 13.
Mhm.
Um,
Rule of 12 is basically
Just roll 12 dice for pretty much any
okay.
test.
Yeah.
so
It's 12 is a good difficulty rating.
so I start at 12, and then dependent upon the competency level of the thing that I'm rolling for, I usually subtract up to 4 or add up to 4, which gives you like an 8 to 16 dice pool range. Considering that your average human being is 3s across the board, that's 3 of a stat, 3 of a skill, and then 2 points of situational modifiers, which can really be anything. Maybe this person just happens to be a little bit better at perception, so he now rolls 3 agility, 3 pistol skill, 1 point for his laser sight, and 1 point for taking aim. He's now up to 8 dice, and that's a fucking nobody. Or maybe we're talking about the snooty guy at the maitre d at a restaurant that is giving you the stink eye. Maybe he is like an intuition 4 guy because he's a little bit more savvy. Maybe he's because he works at a high class hoity-toity place that really just gives the visual dressing down to people. Maybe he has like 4 points in the perception skill, perhaps a visual specialization that is 4 intuition, 4 perception, 2 points of vision spec. And if he's given you guys the stink eye, he's probably using the observant detail action, which gives him a +3 dice bonus. So that gives him 13 dice to stare you down.
General notion is to pick the difficulty level you want because you can justify it in dozens of different
Yep.
ways.
Maybe
Yeah.
his skills are lower, and maybe he has contacts or cyber eyes that have vision enhancement. Maybe, maybe he's got somebody whispering in his ear that like the valet was like, "Yo, look out for these assholes," and that's a teamwork bonus that he got a couple extra dice for. And shameless shilling, I have a whole video on it on my YouTube channel under the GM advice stuff. The numbers that I usually operate on are 12 plus or minus 9
Okay.
plus like 2d6 for combat initiative. That can easily be just like cram is plus an extra d6 in less hours. That's the kind of stuff that like gangers and whatever would be taking all the time. Your security buddies, they may have popped some jazz to get them the 3d6 initiative that they had. Um, Again, she could have also had improved reflexes spells sustained on both of them. You guys never checked, so who knows? Um, and then I usually start with about 20 for soak because that's like an armor jacket, 3 points of body, and then a helmet, uh, like forearm guards or some other miscellaneous armor equipment, and then 2 points of situational stuff. A lot of what I also do involves like I never stopped you guys from shooting to ask distance penalties because I don't care. Instead of stopping you from calculating your dice pools, like, oh, lose 1 for light, lose 2 for distance, I'm just going to give my guys a couple extra dice because it's going to work out to about the same. Instead of you rolling 6 dice and my guy rolling 6 dice, you can roll your 9, I can roll my 9 instead of penalizing you. And it, granted, in actual probabilities and statistics and all that other bullshit, it doesn't come out to be even, but I'm not here to play math.
Yeah, it's close enough without all the extra
Right.
work that goes into it.
And some of that stuff mixes and matches. Like a defense die is effectively the same as a soak die for most cases. Like if I don't beat you, then I'm still reducing the damage by 1 if it's a defense die or a soak die.
Can we stay in contact with each other about the updates?
Yeah.
and still build as a yeah. I mean that's more of a request to the non GM people at the table right now.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, my character will fill the same role. I'm more just shifting some dice.
Yeah, but like any huge changes.
Well, just to throw it out there, since Ragnarok is gone, I was actually thinking of, because Sue has some magical potential in him, and like manipulate spells, so that's like a thing. I was actually thinking a little bit about reshaping my character as a rigger, uh, although, I'm just not swayed yet.
We can
I,
talk about some rigor situations and like the rules and stuff around them during the week if you like.
Yeah, that's something I would like to consider maybe.
Sure.
So expect messages from me, Bams.
Yep.
Sorry.
Give me like 2 days to stop being high.
Oh, those may be even better.
I was gonna say, you may like the answers you give us. Yeah, sure, that's fine, dude. You
Yeah.
said it, dude. That's what we're doing. You totally said that we could have, an extra 400,000 million, so we took it.
Wait a
Can't
second.
answer, mouth full of blood.
I would completely fight that because I need to make my priority A resources worthwhile.
Um,
Now next week, are we doing a post mortem for this past run
so we'll
and
do.
moving into the new one?
I My thought process is we'll spend like the first hour cleaning this run up, not in like excruciating detail, but we'll break down. Like you guys mentioned something and was like, "Yo, we captured the dude. Should that get us something a little bit extra?" We'll we'll go through that and see what that gets you. I'll hand out the details on the contacts since they all survived. Um, and then we'll talk about the bonds thing that I kind of talked about, like your character relationships with each other, and maybe hand out a couple of pieces of extra karma there. And then if you guys have downtime stuff you want to do, we can like kind of either abstract that out, or if you guys have a specific run that you want to do for one of your contacts, we can talk about that through the week. We can make that happen. Um, you guys can make up your shopping lists of things you wish to purchase and get them to me between now and then, and I will tell you what we have to roll for and what you can just have and go from there. Um, but that right now is my thought process.
Cool.
Sounds awesome. One more thing I wanted to ask before I start, because when I'm thinking about the rigger, I may just make a dummy character of a rigger and see how I like it. Should I make such a character? Do I get to keep the karma and stuff? Is he
Yep.
basically me only in a different reality?
Yes. You will get to, after you have completed the made him character generation legal, and like we figure out all the little nitty gritties of stuff that kind of like we did the first time where we talked about some qualities and context and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
After all of that, you are more than welcome to apply the rewards that you have received.
Okay. So, okay. Because I was just wondering about making like a drone dome and sending a drone spirit after him. That wouldn't exactly fit, but it's another reality, so why not?
Um, but yeah, no. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to ask about, to talk about, to do?
Right now, I've got nothing.
Yeah, we should probably, you guys should probably go to sleep, uh, and have a nice surgery.
Yeah, right. Well,
That's all right. Rod will be sleeping all, or not. Rod Bamce will be sleeping all day.
yeah. In that case, I have
Plus,
two.
plus, I just wanted to add one thing. Our GM will be significantly less wise since he's going to lose a lot
This is
of
true.
wisdom teeth.
This is true.
So,
I will be legitimately less of a man because they are removing mass from my body.
Okay.
poetic way to look at it.
Right? Um, so then there's there's two things we're going to do here real quick. Something that I have stolen from another GM that I have played with before. I'm sorry, she called it Roses and Thorns. where we kind of go around. Everybody says something they liked and then says something they didn't like, and it is just to help us all improve our craft. So if anybody has anything they want to talk about as something they liked or as something they didn't like, please step up to the plate, or I'm gonna start volunteering.
Um,
Go ahead.
I liked how we pulled it all together toward the end. But I think we may need to lose a touch of our cautiousness. Cautiousness with some of our roles. Or like doing actions, not doing stupid things, but if you can do something, shot.
Those are good answers. Who else has got something?
I liked getting to hear some of your motivations and thoughts about what things were going to happen. Like, for instance, getting the troll as a contact because I was just there smoozing with him. I'll keep thinking on didn't like.
Sure. I know what Hex's didn't like is going to be.
What's my didn't like going to be?
My dice.
Yes, very much so.
I think that's just a group sentiment.
Yeah, I don't know if that one counts.
But
You know
what
what?
I like is
okay.
going to be the potential for contacts. Like, I think always being able to grab new contacts is kind of a good thing.
As long as you guys put yourselves in situations where, you know, like you didn't have to interact with the troll. You went out to interact with him, and granted, he may not be like a fantastic contact to have because after all, he is a lawman. But you don't know what you might call him. Like, I don't know what you might call him up for in the future, and we'll flesh out more of who he is when those phone calls happen.
I would say that I would agree with Jet on that. I liked how it all worked out in the end. Very, like, it was a lot of preparing, but at the end we sort of tied a knot and just by the skin of our teeth sort of avoided target's death. What I didn't like was how the scenario itself sort of forced us to mechanize our play. There was a lot less role playing and a lot more dice rolling, since we had to sort of we were too paranoid and we focused on setting shit up instead of doing stuff.
Now let me ask
So,
you this: do you think that's because this is our first little interaction together, or you just think that's a style of play? Like, how much do you think that
Well, I enjoyed setting up a lot, but I have those two conflicting views, and I have a little bit of Shadowrun experience, and I think that setting up is always long, and legwork and stuff like that is always. I mean, if the players are sufficiently paranoid, it's always going
Right.
to take long. But to maybe again echo Jet a little bit, maybe if we sort of accept that we're Shadowrunners and we're meant to do shit, badass stuff, yeah, maybe that's the way. Although I would really maybe appreciate a little more role playing when we have the chance.
Sure, that's something we can totally work in now that we've gotten to kind of know each other a little bit. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is we've only had 3 times around the table, and especially over just voice and even a little bit of video, this can happen. There's always that whole getting to know you period. Once we fall into a rhythm, I think we'll be all right.
yeah, I'm not that worried about
I
it.
really hope there's going to be a rhythm.
Well, I hate to tell you, but I'm like a 35-year-old white man. My rhythm is very low.
And you broke off.
His rhythm is so bad he can't even finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would probably be my biggest thing too. There's just a lot of waffling back and forth. Should we do that? Should we do this? Well, what about this? What about that? And I think naturally, as we work together, as we see how everyone's going to react, it's okay, well, Bamps isn't going to try and fuck us. Or, okay, normally Jet has a good idea. We'll just naturally start going with this instead of trying to cover every single possible angle that there could be.
Yeah, because it always sort of it helps until it doesn't. I mean, we sort of get paranoid, we get less paranoid, and then one time we don't think of something, and half of our team dies. And
As long as I am here, you will be able to infer how dangerous a mission is going to be based upon how much money I offer you.
And Bams also said he did give us a particularly open mission to start with. So that's naturally going to involve a lot more planning and etc.
Yep.
And then we can get to the witty banter.
Yeah, I actually kind of would like to see us in a specific situation, like the opposite kind of mission, like an assassination, or even not, or even like an impromptu improvisation mission.
So
You have 4 hours to complete this mission.
you have led into the other thing I was going to ask quite expertly, and that is what kind of run do you want to do next?
Not wet work.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of think it would actually be fun and interesting to do we're sitting down at 8, you have until midnight, and the mission fails. To kind of
like we have
force us to think on our feet and react quickly.
Yeah, I'm a fan of like extractions and things like that, or distraction runs. Sometimes delivery runs can be great, depending on what you're supposed to be delivering and whether it wants to be delivered or not.
Usually, when I think of runs like that, it's like stealing runs when we have to steal something and get out. That's when you have to sort of get somewhere stealthily, and then when shit hits the fan, you sort of have to think on your feet and run.
Okay.
Because it usually hits the fan.
Whatever we do, I would like a little more linearity.
Okay.
This was very open.
Yes.
Too open for me, I think, and that's where we got lost.
It-
Especially when we started losing people.
It may have been too open for a first run, but it was like when we were first talking about it, it's like this is more or less the run that I offered up to that other group that turned it down based upon racism.
Yeah.
It would have played out differently, obviously, because I probably wouldn't have used the same shenanigans. Like I would not have used Leon the Professional. Which I did enjoy the kick you got out of that when it happened, when you got like the reveal.
Ugh.
When it
Just-
dawned on me.
This was the night of taking credit back.
Oh,
And that
I mean-
does.
I love you for it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely, positively love that it was there. But, it's the same way when someone makes a pun, regardless of how much you like it, you have to groan.
okay. All right.
That does kind of cover some of my where do you get your ideas for runs, and yeah.
So Shadowrun is everywhere in your life. You just have to kind of train yourself to see it, and that can totally be a run. Like I have an example of where that an experience I had with that I would be happy to run for you because it's a run that I actually moderately enjoy, but the you guys wanted to do a low prep time.
Well,
You
it
guys
doesn't
wanna do
necessarily
extra
need to be the next one. Something a little narrower that might get done a little quicker would be nice.
Okay. So for the next run, we're looking for something with a little bit more of a narrower focus. Do you want to do extraction? You want to do wet work? You want to do like that's what I'm looking for is what kind of run do you want?
Well, not wet work, I think, since we all sort of went out of our way to not kill people if possible.
I mean, from a role playing standpoint, current jet and future jet will not take wet work.
Okay. That's fine. That is completely legitimate. Um,
I'm
Yeah.
all for infiltration, stuff like that.
okay. Is that what you guys want? You guys want to break into someplace and do a thing?
Yeah, sure.
Sounds good to me.
Yarp.
I have a couple of ideas, or I shouldn't say a couple of ideas. I should say I have a couple of runs that I have done previously that I can adapt. But with that in mind, and the hour of the night, I want to thank you guys for coming out.
Morning.
I want to thank people on Twitch for watching this, as they tend to do sometimes, and those of you who check it out on the YouTubes for checking it out on the YouTubes.
Hi Twitch. Bye YouTubes. Bye Twitch.
Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.
That was kind of creepy.
Thank you.
So, all right.
Yep. Good night.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Peace out, folks.
See you later.
Good night.